Hello! Here's the sign, here's the boy. I'm a professional streamer here. So we got some interesting news to cover today. We'll see how we feel. Shut up! I'm a professional streamer. Developer letter 2. Let me just turn this down a little bit. I just want like a little bit of background sound, not like a whole lot. Hello, this is GM Angelica. A long time has passed since the first letter. First of all, I would like to apologize for the lack of communication there has been until the opening of the second letter. They communicated with TFT, they didn't communicate with the rest of the community. Basically, they said that they needed an extra week to implement a lot of the changes that we were like shouting at them from the TFT group. One of the things that... And my mic is too loud. One of the things that we complained about was the DNA system being completely unbalanced. There was like zero thought put into it. Another things we complained about was the paired area system. You know, there's a lot of things we complained about. Much deliberation was required before making a difficult decision. To put it bluntly, in accordance with your wishes, we plan to adjust the in-game playtime of Black Child will be similar to the old version, 22 minutes. I feel like I called this. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure I called this. Dating Simulator Black Survival. Did I not call this? This is the first time we... GM Angelica, right? Now that I think about it. Yeah, this was when I was sick. 지속적으로 감소하기 시작하여서 작은 부분은 1분으로 지역 유지 시간이 감소됩니다. 파밍 지역이 두 지역씩 페어링되며 페어링된 지역에서는 완전히 동일한 아이템이 들어옵니다. 바로 페어링된 지역은 스탄 이미지를 구현합니다. I think it's fine, very mature. That you want to be able to make engineered arcane motor, right? Whereas, for supply request, I request. The topic of... Where do they announce the 12 minutes? Also, on the topic of taking Wickline and snowballing the game from there, that's only that you want to be able to make engineered too because of the... Okay, this is where they announced it. I'm like pretty sure I said that they're going to revert all this. A situation where everyone's basically learning an entire only because I think it's fine to like completely change up where items are, only because it'll create a situation where everyone's basically learning an entirely new game, right? Like one of the issues for a lot of people coming into this game is the fact that they're competing against players that are very mature, that have a very basically as a rank community matures, it becomes harder and harder to rank, right? The barrier to entry to get into high rank gets higher and higher as the player base learns the game better. Like that's just what happens. But yeah, You can check this. We can check this video later, but at some point during this video, I remember saying this, like, how much you want to bet that they're going to go back to making a 22-minute game because the game was not designed for a game shorter than that. I'm pretty sure I said that. In addition, type system and others that have had many complaints will also go through some changes. Rollback / return. I'm a bit wary of using the word rollbacks, as it can lead to misunderstanding the players that we are bringing back all data, including user data, to a specific point in time. The current 12 minutes of playtime will be adjusted back to around 22 minutes, and accordingly, filled item drop information, pairing system, drone supply system, number of players in your game, mastery level experience, character skill balance, and others will be changed similarly back to how they were in the past. However, we plan to maintain some of the newly added systems, such as the countdown before the game or starting items that show positive reviews. At least they're keeping the stuff that went well. Right? There we go. After restructuring the game, we have discussed various polishing methods in multiple dimensions through the feedback received from our players and balanced TFT. However, the more we thought about it, we couldn't help but get the idea that we are falling deeper into a mysterious labyrinth. This was because we had to admit that the starting point of this experiment was wrong from the beginning. I actually kind of agree that the way they approached this wasn't necessarily the best. They tried really hard to force a 12-minute game, right? And there is motivations to do so, but I don't think that their approach was correct, right? Hey, Radia, how's it going? With the current method that they were doing it, and I I actually wouldn't be surprised if it would have taken them another year or two before the game was in a healthy state. So, I can see why they decided that this is a bad idea. 12-minute game in its current format is too chaotic. I don't think that's inherently the problem. I think the problem mostly lies in the paired area system and the reduced amount of items on the map, right? Like, one of the things that happened was Trail Forest was hyper-contested, Lighthouse Fire Station was hyper-contested, right? I don't speak Korean, I'm sorry, Kim. There weren't a lot of interesting decisions being made. People were contesting the same areas over and over again because there weren't any other pathing to do. Right? That's kind of been everyone's complaint about the new changes, is that because all the areas are the same, what ended up happening was there became a definitive best routing. Because there weren't options. Unless you got like something really good out of supplies. I actually think it's really funny if they kept like a lot of the useless items in the game, like the plates and the thimbles and stuff. So we'll have to see. We can try to reduce the gameplay time, and with it, various systems can be restructured. However, we know that the fundamental premise should always be fun. In order to have a fun with a game optimized for 12 minutes, it was necessary to add new contents or execute character remakes that are fit for the change, not just mechanical number adjustments. However, solely captivated by the 12-minute gameplay, we were busy tinkering loose parts, ignoring the essence of fun. Yeah, so there were certain characters that were, like, strictly broken in this game mode. Most notably, Magnus did really well, JP did really well, Aiden did really well, Johan was busted beyond belief because he got a huge benefit out of DNA. Like, they just kind of slapped numbers at it and slapped stats at characters that made, like, 0 sense. There's best routing because of starting weapon and armor. I don't think that's specifically it, right? Because I have a feeling that, like, because we're going into the old game with starting weapons and armor, right? And I think that if we go into the old game with starting weapons and armor, we're going to have more of a, it's still going to be open for flexibility, unlike before. I just felt like with the current version of the game, there was very definitively a best way to play the game. And it was kind of frustrating. Well, I can't read that. Very desirable rollback. True. We even thought about starting from scratch, but we came to the conclusion that we can't even predict how much time it would take for us to finish or for the players to wait. My guess, 1 to 2 years. Like, there's 0 ways for the game in the state that it currently was to be finished within a couple months. For this reason, we would like to give back to you the original Black Survival you loved. It may not have been many, but we deeply apologize to players who responded in a positive manner to the revamped version, and also to all players for causing great confusion due to repeated changes in game rules and I guess. Let me finish reading the entire letter before I give my opinion on what was said specifically. However, returning back to the past requires the least amount of time and testing. We are currently aiming for a patch around mid or end of April. Oh boy. That's a lot of time. So please note that we plan to start a new season after the minimum stability of the game has been verified after the patch. DNA type system. We are fully aware of many complaints and concerns about VF types by the players. It should have never affected the game. It should have been purely aesthetic. It should have just been the dating sim and that's it. Like, that's it. We plan to change the VF types into features such as currency buffs rather than an increase in stats. Thank fucking God. That's it. We're done, boys. We're done with the system. Oh my God. Like, the worst part about the Type A and Type B DNAs was that they didn't even think about the stats they were giving the characters. Like, a lot of characters just got broken stats from it, and, like, other characters got, like, max HP and max stamina. It was so dumb. Now, what I do like about this is that this actually helps newer players get into the game with currency buffs, because, when they grind DNA and stuff and they get more currency buffs, they're going to be able to afford more characters and be able to play more of the cast, so that's going to be really good. Keep in mind that the contents of currency buffs are being discussed to be the most valuable currency, such as... Never mind. I take back everything I said. I thought it was like gold and stuff. Never mind. They're buffing gems or credits. And this may be partially adjusted depending on the situation of development. But I want to slap GM Angelica on the face after leaving him for 40 days, don't you? I don't. I actually applaud him for attempting to make positive changes for the game, and then also for listening to us. Because, remember, before this, they never talked to us. We were completely ignored. They didn't care about anything we said, right? If there's anything that we gained from all this, is the fact that they're actually listening to us now. Never before in this game, for the last 4 or 5 years I've been playing this game, was this a thing. We gained a lot out of this. This 40-day fiasco. The biggest reason we updated our DNA types was to give motivation to players enjoying the game. By making an unnecessarily grindy system that you needed to grind in order to be competitive? No. As I said, it should have been Type C and Type D DNA only. There are those who enjoy the game itself, and there are many who love Black Swirl because of the characters and their fandoms. By providing the latter with trust types and form with the VF types, we want to provide a motivation to continue playing the game other than the purpose of reaching high rank scores. However, some problems were revealed along the way and made a greater impact on the players than we had anticipated. The first problem was the fact that players were forced to make sacrifices for their fandoms. There was an opportunity cost of giving up VF types in order to level trust types. Yeah, that was like another thing I was thinking about when I was looking at my DNA. I was like, should I just decompose all of my trust type and VF, and like the trust type DNAs for like the in-game DNAs, because like I wanted to be able to make content for every character. Because I couldn't just decompose everything, just shove into one character, because I play every character. Which leads to one or many reasons for players' defeat. Yeah, you would literally lose games because your opponent had 6 extra attack at level 12. Like, come on. Shoichi theoretically maxed out DNA would start the game with a free Searing Palm Scroll, and then if you rush Searing Palm Scroll, all of a sudden you have 10 extra damage on hit. Like, there were some pretty broken combinations. We also thought about dividing the samples in 2, VF and Trust, but the second problem we're about to address would still not be solved. The second problem was unfairness and competition. As I said, there was zero thought put into it. We thought that even if contests giving bonus attributes exist, it was reasonable to some extent that if everyone competes on the same condition, players that put more effort into the game can get a small lead than others. However, it seems that there was a big difference between our players in terms of the mechanism that creates synergy with existing products such as the avatar buff and legendary skin buff, which, again, should not have existed. People actually accuse them of pay to win at this point. We were being complacent and thought this much only saves a little time and unilaterally imposed our point of view to the players. The equality to returning players will also become an issue in the future. In fact, the problem VF types was relatively transparent from the beginning of the update, but it has been a very difficult decision to change the system because there are players who have already worked hard and leveled the types. Yeah, this is a sunk cost fallacy. I'm glad that they got over their sunk cost fallacy. We deeply apologize to players that put in a lot of effort to level VF types. As mentioned above, in order to minimize the loss of our efforts, we will change the system to the most valuable way for the game. Others, balanced TFT and team balance. Due to the decision to return to the old version of the game, the balanced TFT activity will be terminated earlier than planned. Duh. And we will inform you about your compensation individually. We are grateful to all of you who have given us lots of feedback and suggestions in areas we hadn't thought of. However, we are sorry that we could not proceed with the restructuring of the game due to our lack of capacity to take and implement all your voices. Yeah, there's no way with the amount of people you have. Thank you so much for your hard work. Team BS's operation will be temporarily terminated, and this will also so be notified separately. Due to our inexperienced content updates, a significant number of players have dropped overall, hence we didn't think it was right to ask you to continue broadcasting this situation. I think they're literally telling us, take a break from streaming the game. Don't stream the game in the current state. They're literally telling us, don't stream the game now. But that is how I interpret this. And decided that the frequent changes of the game could accelerate the confusion. New players will watch the broadcast in the future. Team BS operations is considered to be changed once the update is stabilized. Conclusion: about 40 days and about a month to follow has and will be a time of confusion and dissatisfaction to Black Survival players. How wonderful it would be if this was one of many repeated experiments and our memories could reset like test subjects, but the scars left on you are unfortunately a reality. Once again, we are deeply sorry about this news, and we plan to prepare a convincing compensation for our upcoming return patch, which happens mid to end of April. I don't think we can change the heart of players who have left the game with return and others patches, but I hope that this can be a small beginning of the effort to bring you back. Thank you for reading this long letter. When do we get our dating sim? I mean, we technically already have it. Just come back fresh when shit's unfucked. Stop streaming the game because we don't want our podcast to be more well known. I mean, yeah, okay, let's talk about my content for a little bit. I'm not going to post the videos that I have up, queued up of, like, the new version of the game, right? I'm definitely going to be respecting their wishes and not live stream and do YouTube content for the game until the reversal patch comes in. I think that we gained a lot from this 40-day experience in the sense that, you know, we actually have communication from the devs never heard of before. I actually really enjoyed reading this letter. I enjoyed giving them feedback on TFT, and I'm hoping that they learned a lot from this experience. I'm hoping that they began to understand, like, what we enjoyed about the game. I hope that they began to understand that lifesteal is a broken as fuck stat to give any character. Don't get used to it. Well, then no BS streams for a while. Yes, no Black Survival streams for a month, but there will be streams. I actually got, like, a bunch of Steam games that I need to clear through. So, like, if you want to check out my other stuff, then, yeah, okay, I love all this news and I'm hella excited, but where's my dragon border? It's definitely coming in the next patch, because that's when they're starting the new season. So yeah, we're gonna see me playing other games. I actually bought the Ukraine charity bundle, so I now have a shit ton of games that I need to play through. I think I have like over 300 games in my Steam library at this point. I'm closing in on 400. See you all in a month. When's Terraria coming back? I don't think I'll be playing a lot of Terraria if I'm going to be complete. DeLuca redeemed shows son. Here's the son. He's been in my lap the whole time. Here's the boy.